Hey beautiful people, welcome to another episode of Q&A with the Loctician. It's Jocelyn here, Jocelyn, and if this is your first time joining, welcome. I like to do these sessions every week live to answer your questions if you have some live, but also addressing questions that were submitted previously through my website, my blog, curlynewgrowth.com. So if you have a question about your locks, you can head over to curlynewgrowth.com/ask and submit your question. But today's topic is about lint and dealing with lint in your locks. So if you have lint or you're wanting to know how to deal with it, definitely stay tuned. So the question specifically is from Shantae. Hey Shantae, hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Or Shantae maybe. But she says that she has some lint and dog hair trapped in her locks and she did an ACV rinse but it's not taking care of it. Is there anything she can do aside from dyeing it? So, great question. I'm going to share with you 5 ways that you can deal with lint in your locks. And as she mentioned, a lot of people try to resort to ACV rinses, but an ACV rinse, apple cider vinegar, if you're not sure what that means, ACV rinse is not necessarily, or it's not going to do anything about lint in your hair, because apple cider vinegar actually has a pH that is almost the same, a little bit lower actually than your hair. So what that really does is actually close the cuticle. It seals the hair in, so it may make your problem a lot worse. Although apple cider vinegar does have some malic acid in it, so it kind of like breaks up things. Like if you have product buildup, it's not really going to affect lint or dog hair. So that's not what you want to do. She mentioned a great option is the first one that many professionals, and usually it's like the go-to for most people that are dealing with lint, is dyeing your hair. When you have a lint, you have to understand that lint is not like product. It's not going to kind of dissolve if you use the right surfactants or anything. Lint usually is cotton or polyester, or some material that's from your shirt or from your bed or your sheets or something like that. And what that lint, those little fibers do is actually wrap around your lock and they intertwine in there. If you follow me on Instagram, I posted a video, I think it was over the weekend, looking at locks under the microscope. One of my girlfriends came over and she had like a little lint problem, and so she's like, look at it under the microscope, and we did, and it was so interesting to see how the lint actually meshes with your locks. So if you're curious to see that video, definitely head over to my Instagram. It's the same as my Facebook, Curly New Growth. But I'll post a link in the description. So it's really, really cool to see it. I think that'll help you really understand what lint buildup is. So definitely consider dyeing your locks. You can dye them just the color of your hair to cover up the lint, but if that's not something you're interested in doing, 4 other options that you have. The next one is lock brushing. If your locks are mature, that means they're beyond the teenage phase. So generally you've had them for at least 9 months to almost a year. They're fully budded and everything. You can try lock brushing. I used to do lock brushing on my last set. My locks aren't quite mature enough to handle lock brushing yet, but I did lock brushing on my last set of locks, and that really helps to, get out the lint before it gets embedded in your locks. If you're curious how to do lock brushing, I'll link the post with the video tutorial that teaches you how to do it. Talks about all the things you need to be mindful of when you do lock brushing. But that's another great option to get out lint that may have just got in there. So you want to be proactive always, but lock brushing is another great solution. The next one is not usually something that people like to hear, but you can cut your hair, cut your locks, trim them. Lint, definitely, especially lint buildup, is something that accumulates. So especially in that back row. That's why I have an undercut. One of the reasons why I have an undercut is because of lint, but in your back row, it's really prone to lint buildup, just because it rubs on everything, your coats, your blankets, your hats, everything. So in that back row, if you're not really careful, it can accumulate a lot of lint. So you do an undercut, just super cute. I can't show you mine because it's not cute right now, but usually they are. You can do a, you know, just a trim off the part that's like really excessively full of buildup, and be more mindful, be more proactive with making sure it doesn't accumulate lint going forward. You know, or not trim. If you're not comfortable with the trim or cutting, that maybe that option's not for you, but that is an option for some people. So you can cut your locks to get rid of some of that lint. What you don't want to do is like try to cut it out, like try to cut along this outside part of your hair to try to get out lint. You don't want to do that. Don't want to cut into your lock and try to pull out. Don't do that. You're either gonna like cut it off completely or not at all. So I'm not talking about trimming lint out. I'm talking about trimming your whole lock. Let's be clear. So cutting is not an option for you. Next step is using tweezers, right? And that's like if you see some lint, like say if there was lint right here and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's lint and it's not coming out because lint gets, again, embedded in your lock, grab some tweezers and try to pull it out. Hopefully it comes out easy. If it doesn't come out easy, please don't keep picking at your lock because you will weaken it and it'll be thin and it may break off. So if you can't get it out easily with tweezers, just let it go. Okay, that option's not for you. But tweezers is a great option if you notice lint and you're trying to like groom your hair. Get some tweezers, pull it out, check your hair. And you should always be mindful to have somebody or yourself look in the mirror like every few weeks just to check your locks for lint. You don't want to just, oh, it's 6 months have passed and I haven't really seen if my hair has any lint. Let's check. It's a little too late. You want to be really, really proactive, like every week, every other week, making sure there's no lint accumulating in your hair. That's why it's also really important that you're using a lint-free towel, and ideally one that is not the color of your hair. If you're using something that's the color of your hair, even if it's not a lint-free towel, like say you're just using your own cotton towel or t-shirt, you don't want it to be the color of your hair because you want to be able to get it out. You want to be able to see it. If you can't see it, how are you going to get it out? And then just because it's brown lint doesn't mean it's not lint, right? So definitely make sure you have something that is not the color of your hair. That's why I sell blue lint-free towels, so you can clearly see anything blue. But they're lint-free, so you shouldn't have any problems. Just in case you ever did, it's blue, you'd see it, right? But anyway, the fifth solution, and it's one that I thought was so ingenious. A fellow loctician mentioned it to me when we were talking about lint, and that is to use velcro. How genius is that, right? Like, cotton and things are attracted to velcro. That's often what you see. All the velcro has all that lint stuck in it, right? So you can use some velcro on your lock, whoop, you know, try to get that lint that's like really deep down in your lock, get that, you know, try to pull it out. So 5 ways that you can deal with lint. You can dye your hair, and you know, you just use a semi-permanent, do something the color of your hair. You can do lock brushing if your locks are mature, and again, I'll link all that information in the description box. You can trim your locks, especially that back row, trim it to a nice undercut so you don't even really have to worry about any lint. You can use tweezers just to get out any surface lint, but you don't want to, you know, dig in your lock. Please don't dig in your lock. Just, you know, if it's surface, get it out with the tweezers. And number 5, try some Velcro. Velcro, though, by far has been the easiest way that I have removed lint from people's locks. Now, as Shantae mentioned about the dog hair, so tweezers is better than pulling out with your fingers, more focused on the actual lint than some strands. Yeah, exactly, Nikki. As Shantae mentioned about the dog hair. Dog hair, from what I've seen, I don't have a dog, so I don't have any personal experience with dog hair in my locks. But I do have clients that have pets and dogs and cats, and they come in with I can like clearly see your pet has been laying on your pillow. So what we do, we actually pull the little hair, like those hairs are usually long, so you can really, really get them out. Tweezers, again, very efficient way to pull out those long pet strands that don't curl up like our hair. You can get those out with intention versus pulling out any shed hair, like Nikki mentioned, surrounding that pet hair. It's very tedious. So I would advise, as always, to be proactive, making sure you're covering your hair, wearing your scarf, using a lint-free towel, trying to keep your pets off your beds or any place that you're going to lay. I know that may be hard, easier said than done, but you want to be proactive. You don't want to let things, accumulate. So I hope this was helpful, these 5 tips on dealing with lint in your locks. If it was, definitely share and or just hit the like button so I know this was something that benefited you in some way, shape, or form. So thank you so much for watching, and if you have a question about your locks, head over to curlynewgrowth.com/ask and you can submit your question there. It can be about, anything related to your locks, health or wellness. And yeah, I look forward to talking to you again next week. Bye, and thanks for joining me, of course.